In 1997, Donnie Brasco told the true story of FBI agent Joe Pistone, who went undercover for 6 years inside the Bonaro crime family. Johnny Depp played Pistone, befriending Al Pacino's Lefty Ruggiero, a low-level mobster who never suspected his friend was actually a federal agent. The film became a classic for showing the mafia without the glamour, just the fear, debt, and brutal reality. And the story behind its making is just as wild as the undercover operation itself. The first fact we're looking at is Johnny Depp's preparation for this role, and it went way beyond what most actors would ever do. Depp tracked down the real Joe Pistone and spent months shadowing him. They lifted weights together, talked for hours about what it felt like to live a lie every single day. Depp even took shooting lessons from actual FBI agents. Pistone later admitted that when he closed his eyes during the movie and just listened, he genuinely couldn't tell if it was Johnny Depp speaking or if he was hearing his own voice. Depp didn't play Pistone, he became him. The second fact talks about the casting. Al Pacino was originally supposed to play Donnie Brasco himself, the FBI agent going undercover. But Pacino read the script and something felt off. He saw himself as Lefty, the beaten-down mobster who's been working his whole life for nothing. Constantly overlooked, always one mistake away from a bullet. So Pacino switched roles and personally recommended Johnny Depp for the lead. Keep in mind, this was 1997. Depp wasn't the massive star he'd become later. But Pacino saw something in him. That one decision changed everything. Now we're moving on to the third fact, which is about the real operation spiraling beyond what anyone expected. When the FBI approached Joe Pistone about going undercover, they told him it'd be a short-term assignment. A few months, maybe 6 at most. 6 years later, Pistone was still deep inside the Bonaro family, living 2 completely separate lives. He had a wife and kids who thought he worked a normal job. He had mobsters who treated him like family. And every single day, he walked a tightrope where one slip meant death. The fourth fact reveals the devastating toll it took on Pistone's family. At the height of the operation, he went 2 straight years without seeing his wife and children. Not a visit. Not a phone call. Nothing. The FBI wouldn't allow any contact. The risk was too high. And then his wife got in a horrific car accident while driving to pick him up from the airport. It was nearly fatal. Pistone had to make an impossible choice: rush to her bedside or attend a crucial meeting with mob bosses that could have blown his cover. He chose his wife. The meeting almost collapsed the entire operation. Let's look at the fifth fact. This movie is actually accurate. Most Hollywood films based on real events take massive liberties. Donnie Brasco didn't do that. Joe Pistone watched the finished film and said it was about 85% accurate. He went further, saying the movie portrays the mob the way it is. Not the Hollywood fantasy version, the real version. Dirty, desperate, and utterly unglamorous. Director Mike Newell and screenwriter Paul Anastasio did exhaustive research, spent hours interviewing Pistone, and studied FBI reports. That commitment to authenticity is why this movie still resonates decades later. The sixth fact is about how Johnny Depp broke the ice with Al Pacino on their first day working together. The scene was simple. 2 guys in a car, Lefty talking about getting out of the mob. But there was tension on the set. During take after take, Depp kept farting loudly. Pacino got more and more irritated. Finally, after several ruined takes, Depp reached under his seat and pulled out a whoopee cushion. He'd been pranking Pacino the whole time. Pacino just lost it, doubling over laughing, all the tension evaporating instantly. Director Mike Newell later said the stupid prank was genius. It shattered the ice between them. Now, let's talk about the seventh fact. The famous line, "Forget about it," became one of the most iconic phrases from the film. In the DVD version of Donnie Brasco, this phrase is used 28 times throughout the movie. It perfectly captured the mob's dismissive attitude and became a cultural reference point that people still quote today. The way different characters use it, sometimes as a threat, as reassurance, sometimes as just a casual dismissal, shows the authenticity of the dialogue. It's a simple phrase, but it tells you everything you need to know about how these guys communicate. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Because while Depp and Pacino were building chemistry on set, the real-life aftermath of Pistone's operation was brutal. People died, families were destroyed, and some of the film's most powerful moments, they didn't happen to the character you think. Looking at the eighth fact now, and this one's about the ending of the film. Lefty takes off his jewelry, says goodbye to his wife, and tells her if Donnie calls to give him a message. Then he walks out to meet his bosses, and we hear a gunshot. The implication is clear. Lefty was killed for failing to identify the FBI mole. Except that's not what happened to the real Lefty Ruggiero. The FBI intercepted him before the mob could execute him. He went to prison and died of lung cancer in 1994. So, whose story is that ending? It's Sonny Black's, Michael Madsen's character. In real life, Sonny Black took off his jewelry, handed it to his favorite bartender, and walked out to meet his superiors. They murdered him that night. His body turned up on Staten Island a year later. The filmmakers transferred that real death to Lefty because dramatically, it made more sense. The ninth fact is wild. During a 2-day break in filming, Michael Madsen met a woman named Deanna, proposed to her, and married her within 48 hours. When Al Pacino found out, he was reportedly disgusted by how impulsive it was. But here's the twist. The marriage actually worked. They stayed together. Sometimes the craziest decisions end up being exactly right. We're at the 10th fact now. Al Pacino had quit smoking by the time the filming started, but his character, Lefty, is a chain smoker. So Pacino used herbal cigarettes instead. According to director Mike Newell, they smelled absolutely horrendous, worse than actual tobacco. For months, everyone on set had to deal with Pacino smoking these foul-smelling fake cigarettes, take after take. The 11th fact is about the real Joe Pistone's appearance in the movie. He's there in the boat scene, playing one of Sonny Black's guys. He has exactly one line: Mr. Traficante is leaving. 5 words. This man spent 6 years undercover, took down over 100 mobsters, and risked his life every single day. And in the movie based on his life, he got to say 5 words. But knowing he's there adds something profound to the scene. And finally, the 12th fact is about Joe Pistone's life today. Even now, decades after the operation ended, there's still a contract on his head. The mob doesn't forget. Pistone lives under an assumed name in an undisclosed location, far from any city with organized crime activity. He's had to move multiple times over the years, and when he retired from the FBI after everything, after 6 years undercover, after destroying an entire crime family, the Bureau handed him a check for $500. That's what his service was worth on paper. He eventually wrote a book called Donnie Brasco, My Undercover Life in the Mafia, and that book became the foundation for this film. Donnie Brasco isn't just a great mob movie, it's a window into one of the most successful and devastating undercover operations in law enforcement history. So which fact hit you the hardest? Did you know Joe Pistone is still living in hiding? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you want more deep dives into classic films with wild behind-the-scenes stories, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.